Jnanandana Salakaya Chakshunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. So today we are celebrating Independence Day. Independence Day. And perhaps you know in August 15th, 1947, India got independence. So I'd like for us all to inquire about 3 questions today. I just whipped this presentation up in the last hour, so it's not super professional. So what does independence mean? Are we really independent?
No.
These guys are smart. And what should we do with our independence? So let's look at the second question. Are we really independent? No one here is independent. We need sunshine, we need air, we need water. So we are dependent beings. And what should we do with that independence? So perhaps you know, before, very long time ago, before the British were ruling India, before the Mughals were ruling India, there was an ancient name of this land, and it was Bharatvash. So just raise your hand. Who knows the story about whom Bharat was named after? Who knows? We only have 2 pundits in the house. No one else knows? This ancient land of India, before a name was imposed from outside, what's the history? So I want to just speak very briefly about that history today. So before the Mughals invaded India, it was many kingdoms, many different Rajas, Maharajas. They were ruling so many areas, and it was a very large tract of land. And then the British, they gave the name India later on. And so this land of Bharatvarsha, it is named after Bharat Maharaj. And the Grantaraj Sriman Bhagavatam, the king of all scriptures, it shares the history about Bharat Maharaj. So perhaps you know, in this ancient land of India, there is a very old tradition that the Maharaj, the king, towards the end of his life, he would renounce his kingdom and he would go to the forest to be completely absorbed in God. Because whatever you're meditating on at the time of death, you'll go to that atmosphere. So the king would set an example to all his citizens. Life is to be absorbed in God, and you should be absorbed in God when you leave your body. So Bharatvash, he was the son of Rishabdev, and Rishabdev had 100 sons, and of those 100 sons, 10 were prominent. And of those 10, 9 were the Yavanogendras. And the other one was Bharat, who later became Bharat Maharaj. So the land of India is so pure that God himself has come 9 times personally. 9 times, not once, 9 times God has come to India. And outside of India, he sends his representative, some saint to represent his message. But the Supreme Lord will only appear personally where Varnashram Dharma is being practiced. So that's why Supreme Lord has come 9 times to the land of Bharat. And some people think it is the 10 avatars of Vishnu, but actually it's the 10 avatars of Krishna. This is the words of Sastra. Not my words, the words of Sastra. So I won't read all the slokas because I've only got 5 minutes, but maybe I'll make that 5 Indian minutes.
You can take your time, David.
We're very lucky coming into contact with Vedic culture, because Vedic culture is a henotheistic religion. Henotheistic means there's one Supreme Lord. He has many different names, but that one Supreme Lord, he has many ministers. And those ministers are serving that mission of the Supreme Lord in so many different ways. So Krishna's tu Bhagavan Swayam. Krishna is that original Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Krishna also says, Janma Kama Chame Davyam. His birth, his appearance in this world, it's all transcendental. And if you can understand this pastimes of Krishna, you will be free from the samsara, this endless cycle of birth and death. So, all living entities, they have some independence, but this independence is minute, very small. We can make a garden, we can make a house, we can make a business, but can you manifest millions and millions of universes? No. Supreme Lord never grows old. Some people, they may be getting grey hair, their teeth may be starting to fall out. So then we can know we're not Supreme Lord. Because Supreme Lord is ever fresh, ever youthful. That's Krishna. So every living being is Jiva Bhutana Sanatana, a part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. And it is our constitutional position to be serving that Supreme Lord. And the Vedic culture, the Vedic society, it was structured around God consciousness. Whether you were good with your hands, whether you were a businessman, whether you're a warrior, whether you were a teacher, the whole society was structured in such a way it could help develop your God consciousness. And that remnant of that is still very strong today in India. No other culture on earth has survived as Indian culture has, because it had God consciousness so strong at the center. And we know the traditional education system in India in Vedic culture was Gurukul. So even up until the time of the British, there was thousands of Gurukuls all amongst India. And so the Guru would be there, and the young men, they would come and stay many years being cemented in a spiritual education before getting married if they chose. And they would be trained in certain Vedic rituals. So many aspects of Vedic culture are so scientific, even just eating with your hands. So we want independence, but are we really free of the British? Whose here's using a spoon and a fork every day at their meal?
Not me.
Yeah? Every finger. So we have one Sanatani here in the house. So every finger is connected to a different element. So as soon as you touch the food, your body is receiving it properly. Veda culture is such a science, but so we want to be free from the British, but we want to take up so many of their customs. So are we really free? We're not free. We may have got independence, but we have taken on board so many of their ways of thinking.
Before India was like that, India was independent after independence, but Western culture has gone on into India. That's why we have started doing this. Before that, everybody is sitting on the ground having food from their hands, right? So this Western culture, when they get in, they have taken our culture and given their culture to India.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
That's
why we became slaves again.
Yes, I spoke about this at Ram Navami, how there was a whole agenda in the in the Indian education system to make the leaders of the country westernized. So very easily that Western culture could be integrated into Indian society. Very terrible, actually.
And they have taken all the gold from India. That's why a lot of Indians are not in India now.
Yes. So under the reign of the British,
they went out to get their gold back.
But the true gold in India, that is the spiritual culture, and that can never ever be taken. And that's why the British have left, but still so many Westerners are flocking in every day on planes, because they want the spiritual culture of Bharat. So one of my teachers, he runs a Vedic university in Vrindavan, and he says this is the greatest gift of India, is this guru business, this guru system. Because everything in Vedic culture was coming from blessings of Sri Guru. And we see this all throughout Mahabharata. Everything was coming from blessings of Sri Gurudev. So that's a long history we could go into. So let's go back to Bharat Maharaj. So at the end of his life, he renounced his kingdom and then he went to the forest. And he was doing his sadhana there, his spiritual practice, very strongly. He was a very elevated devotee, actually. And when he was in the forest, he built one small hut, and then one deer came along one time when he was doing his sadhana. Actually, the mother deer was crossing the river, and a lion roared, and she became afraid, and she gave up her life. And then that baby deer was crying out, and so that Bharat Maharaj, being a compassionate sadhu, he picked up that baby deer from the river and he kept it as a pet. And so before he was remembering his mantra, but now his mind started to go towards his baby pet deer. And then he became so affectionate, so attached to that baby deer. And whenever that deer wasn't around, he was in so much anxiety. Oh, where is my beloved deer? And then it came for the time for him to leave his body. And instead of focusing on Supreme Lord, he was thinking, where's my baby deer? So then, in his next life, what was he born as? A deer. So Bhagavatam tells us 3 lifetimes of Bharat Maharaj, the founder of the land of India, the true founder. So then in his next life, he was in a deer body, but he was still doing sadhana because he could remember his previous life. And then in the life after that, he was born in the dynasty of Whangārei Rishi. And in the dynasty of Whangārei Rishi, he was called Jad Bharat. And he didn't want to become entangled in the worldly affairs, so he just pretended to be a dumb mute. And eventually his family got sick of him, so they kicked him out. And he was wandering around India. And one day when he was wandering around India, there was one king, actually before that, he was working in a field, and some followers of Kali Ma, they wanted to do a human sacrifice. So they went up to this Jad Bharat and they said, hey, come with us, we want to offer you as Kali Prasad. So Jad Bharat was so surrendered, he thought, if Supreme Lord wants to relocate me to another body, no problem. So then they put those dacoits, put the Jad Bharat before the deity of Kali, and they were about to cut his head off in sacrifice. And that place is in Janmu.
Vaishno Devi.
Yes, just a few k's from there, that mandir is there. ISKCON.
Shitla Mandir.
Yeah, very nice place.
Yeah, in Nagrota.
So that those dacoits were about to swing the knife and cut off the head of Jad Bharat, but then that deity of Kali, she exploded and she came out and she said, hey, this is a great devotee of Supreme Lord Krishna. You are making a big offense if you sacrifice him. So then Kali, she cut off the heads of all of her followers. Said, don't touch the lotus feet of a devotee of Krishna. Very, very precious. And then she said to Jad Bharat, you are not sharing your knowledge with anyone. Don't hide who you are. Share your wisdom. So then later in his life, Jad Bharat, there was one Maharaj, one king coming along. His name was Raghunanda Maharaj. And he was going to see Kapil Rishi. And then, long story short, he came across Jad Bharat and he got him as a palanquin carrier. And in the end, Jad Bharat ended up instructing Raghunanda in the teachings of the Vedas. And then that Raghunanda Maharaj said, oh, who are you? I thought you were just a simple laborer. And then Jad Bharat said, have you heard of Bharat Maharaj? And that Raghunandan, he said, yes, I am coming in the dynasty of Bharat Maharaj. And then Jad Bharat said, I am that Bharat Maharaj. And then Raghunandan gave pranams. So that is a brief introduction into the personality to whom which Bharat is named after. So it's also written in Sastra. in Sastra, and the Sastra is written in Sanskrit. But this is from Bengal actually, the Sastra. One who has taken birth as a human being in the land of Bharatvash should make his life successful and work for the benefit of all other people. Or in other words, one who has taken birth in the land of Bharat, it is their duty to help others gain spiritual consciousness. Because the revelation of God has not been revealed to the degree that it has in Bharatvash anywhere else. So it is the duty of every Indian person to use their independence, our minute independence, to turn our consciousness back to the Supreme Lord. This is the true use of our independence. And so to use that independence to turn towards whom we are completely dependent upon. That is Bhagavan, Supreme Lord. He is supplying everything to us. Every single thing. So this is what it truly means to be independent. So we have so many teachings of Bhagavad Gita, so many spiritual gold mines in India. India has given us Buddhism, given us Jainism, it's given us Advaitavad, it's given us Vaishnavism, it's given us Shiva, Shakta, so many traditions, all harmoniously coexisting in the land of India. This is astonishing, because there are many paths, spiritual paths, gradually coming to that fountainhead, Sri Krishna. So, on this day, we can ask ourselves, am I really independent?
No.
And at every moment, I have a choice. It doesn't matter what is my external surroundings, but in Bhagavad Gita has given us teachings how to get over calm, crowd, load, all these things. And to turn our direction back towards the Supreme Lord. This is true Vedic culture. This is what it really means to be Sanatana. Because Vedic culture is the eternal culture. It will survive even when this earth returns to dust. Vedic culture is eternal. India was brought up by some white fella. We're not celebrating that. We're celebrating Bharatvash and the true independence that comes. So, the Supreme Lord himself has come 9 times to Bharatvash, and that beautiful original personality of reality, that is called Krishna. And he is only complete when he has his Purna Shakti, that is Srimati Radhika. And that original Supreme Personality of Godhead, he comes in the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and gives us the teaching of how to turn our awareness back towards Krishna. Krishna says at the end of Bhagavad Gita, I have explained all this knowledge to you. And he acknowledges your independence. Now you do what you want. How reasonable is that? He's not saying I'm going to send you to hell or nothing. I've explained all the great sciences to you, the spiritual sciences. Now you do what you want. So it's up to us to be an example for our families, for our children, to bring our attention back to Supreme Personality, Sri Krishna. By chanting this mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bharatvash ki Jai. Sri Krishna Swayam Bhagavan ki Jai. Jai Jai Shri Radhe Shyam.